What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news each and every day. I'm Drew Bosley, that's Scott Savage, and you can join us over at InsideTheGame.ca, YouTube at Inside the Game Official. Our friends over at Fired Up Network has 212 platforms you can join us on, just like SoundCloud and a whole lot more. And don't forget those beautiful TV streaming networks around the globe: Roku, Amazon Prime, Samsung Plus, Jinx Esports TV, ESTV, and a whole lot more. Before we get going, don't forget to check out our review of Atlas Fallen. Corey and I talked about that for quite a while. There's a lot to say. We have two different perspectives too, which is pretty interesting to think about.
I like that.
There's a lot to talk about on today's show as well. Scott, what do we have?
We have Take-Two hinting at GTA 6 coming out, and that's got everybody excited. Take-Two also, far less excitingly, defends their $50 Red Dead Redemption conversion. We'll get into that. And Dino Crisis could meet Exoprimal. That's a interesting match. Quake 2 Remaster is talked about today, and I have my fingers crossed.
Yeah, will we see that game out today? I think that's the biggest question of all. But let's dive into the show and find out. Scott, we're coming out swinging on today's show. Dude, this is hot stuff coming out of Take-Two, as Take-Two Interactive hints GTA 6 to launch in 2024. Tom Henderson over to Insider Gaming. Take-Two Interactive has once again reported that the company expects a significant increase in revenue for the fiscal year of 25, suggesting that GTA 6 could release in 2024. Oh boy, move out the way, games. I'm telling you, step aside.
That's my thoughts.
In the latest earnings call, Take-Two CEO and Chairman Strauss Zelnick said, quote, "We at Take-Two remain confident that we are positioning our business for a significant inflection point in fiscal 2025, which we believe will include new record levels of operating performance." End quote. Well, isn't that a giveaway right there, Scott? Take-Two's fiscal year of 25 runs between April 2024 and March 2025. Whilst to some, the news might just be buzzwords for investors, Take-Two is expecting a total of $8 billion in net bookings next year. That means versus the current fiscal year production of $5.5 billion. Take-Two is expecting an increase of $2.5 billion alone for next year. If the publisher prediction is because of the long-anticipated GTA 6, not only could a reveal date be imminent, but we could expect GTA 6 to release somewhere around September to October 2024. Judging by the past reveals and releases of Rockstar Games, the developer behind GTA 6, it's likely that the announcement of GTA 6 will be made around October 2023. We can then expect the game to launch 12 months later. It should also be noted that Rockstar Games and Take-Two Interactive have a tendency to delay their games too. Scott, are we setting up for one of the biggest launches in history next year?
It certainly would seem that way. There's a few things that come to mind when you could actually attempt to break Rockstar's own records, and that has to be GTA, surely. But if they are expecting an increase of 2.5 billion next year, what is that going to be? Is that based on the announcement of the actual release date? Is this perhaps a reveal of other things they have under the hood right now? Red Dead is in the spotlight, and we're going to get to that. But I'm wondering, what else could there be coming out of GTA, or Rockstar rather?
You nailed it. GTA. Like, there is nothing. Well, there could be, but nothing to this scale, right? I think that's the biggest giveaway right there. When they're saying they're going to have an increase of $2.5 billion, there's only one game on the planet that can do that. Dude, there isn't another game around.
Perhaps Fortnite, but...
Well, okay, well, yeah, but still, they're at a different level. That's just a whole different game altogether. And they just introduce more skins, and rework the map. But when you have a fresh launch out of Take-Two, which then goes down to Rockstar, dude, there's only one title that can hit this hard, right? And it has to be GTA 6. A lot of us weren't expecting GTA 6 until sometime in 2025. It's been over a decade now that we've been playing GTA 5, and granted, I was just in it again this morning, having a blast. So here we go. They still keep generating money. We talked about it just the other day on the show that two of their executives are making $70 million just off of Take-Two microtransactions and stuff. they're going to get another boost here, Scott, next year when all this drops. But again, GTA 6 will probably take the world by storm. We're in for another story. And of course, you have to think GTA Online 2.0 is coming as well.
Yeah, I just had the thought. Do you think any of these assets or my money is going to carry forward into the next GTA Online? I thought maybe that would be a nice way of easing everybody into a new environment. But then again,
absolutely
the
not.
shark cards is what's made them probably $1 trillion so far in total.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll be back to square one.
I guarantee you we're starting all over, right? We're going to get into a fresh update of the engine. We're not going to, like, if you take a look at GTA 5 when you're in there and you're playing, it looks good. Dude, the sun was blaring this morning, and I'm like, yo, I'm having a hard time to see. It was awesome. But it's not that level of polish we get out of Red Dead 2, as an example, when you take a look at walking through that world. Like, that world is absolutely beautiful. That's what I expect, and then even a little bit more coming out of GTA 6 is how much more is the graphic fidelity going to upscale? Are we going to be at 60 frames per second? I think we're into a fresh, brand new start. You're not going to carry over anything just because it is 10 years old. They keep updating the game,
That's
dude.
true.
There's always new events coming around, but they're just going to just go fresh start, and then you just watch the charts just skyrocket because everybody's going to be on it day one. There's going to be so many crashes. Here's what happened when GTA 5 launched. You had the game for about a month, and then you had GTA Online drop, was it 6 months later?
I think it was several months later, yeah, and it was still broken for several months after that point as well, which made me wonder, do you think we're going to get GTA 6 Online at the same time? Or will it be another delayed release? Is that perhaps going to come in 2025? That's what I'm worrying about.
Which is fair, right? Right now, we're having so much fun online together, going out as a crew, running this mission, that mission, heists, all these events that we're so accustomed to now at this point. You think they kind of need that as well when they launch the game? We've seen the split launches when you talk about Halo, right? How it launched out in chunks. And there's been other games to follow as well that haven't done as well. I think when it comes down to it, though, GTA is just at another level that they can launch just the base game, let us dive into that world, dissect everything that's in there, because granted, we're going to be here for a while just doing the single player content, and I'm okay with that, and then launch the Online 2.0 or whatever they're going to call it at a later date. Let me get into the world of GTA 6, finish out that campaign, and then be able to move on afterwards. Because if you drop both at the same time, you're not going to have that same impact, I don't think, Scott, because everybody really is going to just jump into the online component and leave a little bit of the story stuff behind, which they're going to miss out on probably some of the greatest content of next year.
Oh, that's true. And it makes a lot of sense to kind of extend that time period, that mind share moment with 2 releases. That could work as well.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic idea right there, right? You keep the GTA conversation going by going, hey, here's the base game. I think, like, dude, I almost guarantee it. This is what they're going to do. They're going to give you the base game first. And then as that starts to wrap up and people are phasing out, but they're still posting content, like, dude, it's going to be littered. They're still littered with content each and every day on GTA 5 and GTA Online. Wait till 6 drops. There's going to be months of this content. And then when you do a fresh launch going, hey, by the way, here's a whole showcase just on the online component, that spins up that conversation again. It gets people excited. And then they jump into another fresh piece of content. And then here we go for another decade, you figure? Of GTA Online?
At least.
Probably.
I would expect another 10 years, but I'm hoping their server capacity can handle a fifth of the planet getting on board on day one.
Yeah, it's going to get overloaded, that's for sure. We'll have some interesting takes when it gets to the online, see how well it runs. Because that's what we said, when online first initially launched, it was broken. It had a hard time.
Yeah.
I don't know. There aren't too many games these days at launch that actually work. There's always the day one patch, and even that patch doesn't fix all the patches that it needs to fix because there's so many other bugs, this, that, and the other glitches here, there, connection issues. And I'm worried that when Rockstar does drop 2.0, that, man, that's going to be another major hiccup. Hopefully not, because everybody's just so excited. Dude, we've been excited and anticipating this announcement. Never mind actually getting hands-on and playing the game. Can hardly wait for GTA 6. I'm just so hungry for more GTA content, just because it has been so long, even though I'm enjoying fresh content all the time right now in GTA Online. Scott, sticking with Rockstar, Take-Two CEO says $50 for Red Dead Redemption on Switch and PS4 is, quote, commercially accurate. I don't know about that. Let's talk about it. This is Chris Scullion over at VGC. Take-Two Interactive CEO and Chairman Strauss Zelnick has defended the price for the upcoming Switch and PS4 ports for Red Dead Redemption. Take-Two publisher Rockstar Games announced on Monday that Red Dead Redemption will be coming to the Switch and PS4 on August 17th, with a physical release of the following on October 13th. It was also announced that the game would cost $50 and will also include the Undead Nightmare DLC, which is great to see that. But IGN asked Zelnick why the game was given the price point, especially considering the game is already available via backwards compatibility for the Xbox for $30, with the Undead Nightmare available for $9, technically $9.99, which still, Scott, only comes up to $40, dude. So again, we're paying more, right? Quote, "That's just what we believe is commercially accurate price for it," end quote, Zelnick replied. Dude, I think that's brutal. I don't think that's right at all.
No, if you look at Switch game releases for a $50 price point, that could make sense if this game were not a decade old at this point. And that's really what kills it. I would expect to find this in the bargain bin of our local EB Games, our GameStop, but not to say it's quality-wise any lesser. It's just old.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, is just the age of the game coming around, getting a fresh launch for the Switch and the PS4, but coming at a higher price where you can already buy it over on the Xbox. Like if they would have just dropped and said, hey, $40, even that would have made more sense. But I don't know, man. When you can buy it for $30,
I think I could buy Red Dead Redemption 2 for about $50, probably less.
And honestly, if you haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, just go play that. It is a newer game. Granted, you're kind of missing out on one fantastic story as well. When you get into Red Dead Redemption 1, it is a setup of the prequel, and then kind of winds up, we'll get a third one eventually. But as we just talked about in our first news article of the day with GTA 6 around the corner, it's not coming anytime soon. So
no.
I don't know. How do you feel about defending the price point, though, Scott? Do you think that's what Zelnick should really say? Or you think he should be like, no, we should have actually dropped this? He's not going to say that, obviously, just because of his position. But, dude, price just a little too high for me.
Yeah, I think here he's held in to have to be defensively. That's his position. But at the same time, well, I think they're thinking about it. The backlash has been unsilenceable.
Yeah, I think everybody's feedback kind of says where we all stand, right? And where we agree that the price point is just too high. But I don't know. We'll see. We might get out for, 6 months and then a price drop, you think?
Yeah, I think that's probably likely. Or even just, hey, it's released, guys. It's on sale. Drew, for our third article here, we have something that might excite me a little bit more than yourself, but let's get into it. Exoprimal could get Dino Crisis content. Quote, if there's enough demand. Chris Scullion at VGC tells us more. Capcom's Exoprimal could get Dino Crisis content in the future if there's enough demand for it, says the director. The plot of Exoprimal revolves around vertexes that have started appearing on Earth. Each possesses danger to the planet when hordes of dinosaurs and genetically modified variants come out of them. Players control different soldiers called exo-fighters. This all fits in quite close to the concept of fighting dinos in Dino Crisis. So given the game's use of dinosaurs as enemy, Silicon Era asked the game's director, Takuro Hiroka, if the game could eventually see content from Capcom's dinosaur-themed Resident Evil clone, Dino Crisis. I have to mention that I have not played Dino Crisis myself, but looking back at it as a relic, it looks interesting. Quote, Leviathan is the type of entity that will go into any means to collect a variety of useful combat data. Hiroka replied, if there's enough demand from players, Leviathan very well could make this a reality. Capcom has already announced that Exoprimal will be getting a series of Capcom collaboration content, starting with Street Fighter crossover during the game's second season in autumn coming up. The second Capcom collaboration will add Monster Hunter content in Season 3. Okay, these make a lot more sense. But when asked about what other content he'd like to see come to the game, Hiroka replied, quote, "I think it would be a lot of fun to have a collaboration with the Mega Man series, which I've been playing since my younger days. The idea of going head-to-head with monsters from the fantasy world of the Dragon's Dogma series personally excites me as well." And that's the end of the quote. To which I have to say, Mega Man, I don't know if I see how that fits in. Monster Hunter makes a lot of sense until you realize they're shooting grenades and stuff.
It's an interesting thought. To me, they're trying to line Exoprimal up to be like Fortnite, in my eyes.
I think so.
Right? I think that's the approach. They see the wave of content coming in on a consistent basis for Fortnite. So how do you capture some of that? Well, we just introduce other crossovers. And because of the way the Leviathan is set up, it is an AI generated concept of they just keep making these little scenarios where you jump into these battles over and over again. So technically, they could do a little side piece of content story-wise, set it up, and then just drop new content in all the time, Scott. And for me, to me, I feel like they're just stretching this a little too much. And it doesn't feel like it's actually proper, but I get it, right? I get the concept. I understand where they're coming from. But for me, it's just a weird take. And Exoprimal was initially announced. People kind of, when they first saw the trailer, like, is this Dino Crisis? Like, that's the game people really just wanted in the first place. Instead, we got Exoprimal. Granted, it hit 1 million players over on Game Pass and everything else and just around the world. So it's done pretty well. It's not to say it hasn't done successfully well when it's launched. Is the content going to keep people coming back, though, Scott? I bounced. Dude, our review lineup is just out the window right now. So for us, there's so many other games. How do they keep people invested? It's not just us too, right? It's gamers on a daily basis. When everything is dropping, dude, wait. Like, we're getting into thick things right now, but September hasn't even dropped yet. And the content we're about to get for all of that is frightening. Exoprimal's got to be looking at that going, I don't know how to keep everybody invested when they're going to bounce over to Mortal Kombat 1, when they go to Starfield, when they go to back into Cyberpunk 2077 with Phantom Liberty DLC. Like, the list, dude, I made a list of games dropping for September and October, and there's 25 games that have us interested in covering for the shows. How does Exoprimal survive by bringing over all these crossovers? Monster Hunter, okay, cool. I get that. That does kind of line up. Even Dragon's Dogma to an extent, but it's still like, man, I don't know, just weird. It was just a weird game to start with.
It only works because this is put on through the idea this AI is harvesting data, which again is the only way that Mega Man can kind of work its way in there. But you can see Capcom just throwing a lot of nostalgia into this to see what sticks. And I think this will inspire a lot of talk about Dino Crisis. We might get a full game given the, intensity of the fandom.
Well, I think that's the other thing too, right? If it's requested enough. Well, the request was really for Dino Crisis in the first place. People have been requesting that game forever. Granted, you and I have never played it. I've never played it, but I've heard the fandom out there, and I've talked to so many other people that do love that franchise that it's just been dormant for so long. Why not bring it back, revitalize it, bring it into a new era, and have that? Honestly, just replace Exoprimal, maybe?
I would not be upset. Another topic that's certainly more for myself than for you, we have a bit of an interesting situation developing with a Quake 2 remaster. It's claimed that will be released today. Chris Scullion has given a little bit of a summary here. Bill Bilkun, who has been accurately leaking game announcements and release dates for some time now, says that the game will be released today at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. That's our time zone now.
Yep.
They also say the game will cost about $10, but it's not yet clear whether it will be called Quake 2 Remastered or Quake 2 Enhanced, although a South Korean rating for a game called Quake 2 Enhanced was spotted by Gamatsu in June. I'd say that lines up pretty well. If the time of the release is accurate, this will coincide with the start of QuakeCon, which also begins today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It's likely then that Quake 2 Remaster will be the one will be one of the first things announced during this opening address. According to the information previously shared by Bill Kun, the game will reportedly be released on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, XS, and the Nintendo Switch. Interestingly dark on the Switch. It will be a different release to Quake 2 RTX, the enhanced ray tracing enabled version of Quake, released by Nvidia in 2019. I wasn't aware there was a tweaked remaster already available, but this is also said to be coming to Game Pass if you're on Xbox. Time will have to tell. We're not incredibly far away from that time now, so I have my fingers crossed. Not like I don't have too much to play already.
Yeah, that's the other side of it right there. I think it does make sense. It does line up with the enhanced version, Scott, not a remastered version, right? I think I just want to bring some of the older titles, give it a little bit of love, and then put it out to the wild and see who bites. And then maybe we get a brand new Quake, a reboot of the franchise, right? Maybe
that's what I really want.
What if they go, hey, right now you can play Quake 2 Remaster or Quake 2 Enhanced Edition. It is on Xbox Game Pass, which makes total sense because it's now owned by Xbox. So it's like that's the whole Bethesda purchase and ZeniMax purchase from back in the day, right? For $7 billion, which was the biggest purchase until they just bought Activision Blizzard for $68 billion. So
incredible amount of money. You can be sure this will join the Game Pass if it is to be believed, and I really think it is.
No, absolutely. And then on top of that, they go, okay, by the way, here's a new look and a fresh look at the brand new Quake. Dude, people will lose their mind if this is really what's going to happen. I'm calling it. I'm predicting it. I'm kind of more hopeful for the fans than anything. I really don't know if it's going to happen. This is just me speculating.
We deserve a Doom-esque remaster of Quake, or a reboot of Quake, I say.
Fair enough. Time will tell. We're only a couple hours away. Well, Scott, there are a ton of games on the forefront, but there's also a couple games out today. What do we have?
We have an expansion, first of all, for Wall World, a beloved title with both of us. That is the Wall World Deep Threat expansion, and that adds a lot more of the storyline and content to our vertical tower defense game. There's also full releases, and that includes Zombie Soup on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. Stray on the Xbox system. I really want to play that. And Atlas Fallen releases on the Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, and PC today.
Absolutely. You can check out mine, Corey's review of Atlas Fallen, get our thoughts, our feedback, and we can fill you in on whether or not you should pick up that game.
For the worthy to live in Thelos' light, the unworthy must.
Well, that'll wrap up today's show, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'm Drew, that's Scott.
And we'll see you inside the game.